In this video, I want to talk to you about a very critical concept in pricing and monetization. I call it the monetization supply chain. Most companies have a value chain oriented mindset. You will hear this term so many times. What is the value chain? How are we delivering value to the client? You think about when the first click happens with marketing, they read the first white paper, they have the first conversation with you, they attend your webinar, they come and use your service, and then you deliver a great service. That is the whole value chain, right? But nobody talks about the monetization supply chain. And that is how money hits your company and how the engine of your company runs. And that's what monetization is all about. And that is completely missed even by most consultants as well as people inside the company. So today I want to talk about that. All right, so in this slide, we are seeing what the monetization supply chain truly is. It starts with your company strategy. So you may be a company in an early stage of its growth. Maybe you're hitting a growth stride, you're trying to grow a lot and at high velocity. Or maybe you're a mature company, closer to IPO or post IPO. Whatever the company stage will inform the company strategy. And that will in turn inform what go-to-market motion you have, what sort of segments you attempt to go after. So the company strategy and stage is then followed by the GTM motion that is appropriate for that stage. It could be product-led growth, could be sales-led, could be a mix. And that downstream is then supported with a pricing model to deliver on that stage as well as GTM motion. Now, there are many options in the market. You could pick a very predictable subscription on-prem model. You can have something like a user-based pricing model, or you can have a more latest usage-based, consumption-based, a very variable model, right? And you can have multiple packages and price points. But really, your price point is trying to support your go-to-market motion and your segmentation. It's really this key alignment mechanism. And depending on if this pricing model now delivers something on the flip side that is highly predictable or highly variable, can make a lot of difference. So let's say on one hand, you can have subscription pricing where you get paid upfront. On the other hand, you have a completely usage-based model where you get paid later down the road after a month or 2 months of usage have happened. Here are all the other downstream things that's going to happen. There is sales, right? Sales have to be enabled. There is sales compensation that is tied to money hitting your company. There is sales training, tooling. So depending on the decisions you've made around your GTM motion and pricing model, you have to create the sales compensation and sales tooling to enable that. Depending on the pricing model, you have to build the financial systems like provisioning, CPQ billing, and not to mention CRM and ERP to support this. In a user-based setting, it's somewhat easier. In a very usage-based setting, there is a lot of overhead here. Same thing for sales composition, a lot of overhead and a lot of variability for sales comp setting in a completely usage-based scenarios. Most sellers are going to want some amount of predictable money for the deals that they close. So therefore, you need to have money in the bank. But the pricing model is also dictating when you get money, not just the nature of whether it is variable or predictive. At the end of the day, financial planning is affected. SaaS metrics will change, whether you have ARR. ARR you only get when there is actually recurring revenue on a subscription basis. Otherwise, you have implied ARR. You have empirical ARR, like they came and they spent all of this money with us, so this tends to be what the ARR is. But you don't really know how much they're going to spend. Forecasts are affected. Cash flow, as I mentioned, is affected. And therefore, if cash flow is affected, you're getting money sooner or later. That impacts your hiring, your growth. That impacts how you raise money. That impacts the exit valuation. So there are so many things that the sort of fulcrum of this supply chain, the pricing model, affects, right? The pricing model itself is dependent on the company's strategy and the GTM motion, but it is the one component that affects a lot of other things down the road. And so the awareness of the monetization supply chain is super critical because this is the life and blood of your company. How you monetize and how the money comes in your company. Is it predictable? Is it very variable? When the money comes in, how you account for it, how much overhead goes into actually managing all of this is super critical for any executive in a company to know. So you also have to have a monetization supply chain consciousness because that is how your company will grow. You can't just all be about value and not worry about how you're going to survive.